Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Minnesota Homestead. Today we are making felted soap. This is a really neat project. It's enjoyable to do. It is not extremely time consuming. It's not extremely complex, and you get a really fun, enjoyable, and useful result. Felted soap is awesome because it's almost like you have a washcloth right there with your soap. It's something that's great for just washing your hands or even for a shower. The neatest thing about this is that you use wool roving to felt around the soap. And as you know, if you've ever put something wool in the wash that shouldn't, I may be guilty of this, wool shrinks in hot water. So as you're using your soap and as the soap shrinks as you're using it, the felt is also going to shrink with it as well. So you're not left with a tiny bit of soap and this big blob next to it. So it's just a really neat thing to do, and it's going to be something that you'll very much enjoy. Makes great gifts, and it's something very much fun for yourself as well. One of the great things about this project is how few supplies you need. You need your base, which is going to be a bar of soap. You need some wool roving that you can get at many different craft stores, and you need a bowl of hot water. It can be helpful to have a nylon stocking. Just get a regular pair of nylons and snip them off, or get some knee highs or whatnot. This can be helpful in keeping the roving organized and on the soap as you're going through the process, but it is absolutely not a requirement. I also find it helpful to have a towel at the end so I can kind of pat it dry and then let the felted soap just rest on here to dry. But again, both of these items, definitely not a requirement. First, we are going to take our wool roving and stretch it out very, very thin. If it's too thick, it's not going to adhere well to the soap. Think about that. There's more that's not next to the soap, and so it's going to take a lot longer and be a lot harder to get it to adhere to the soap and to itself. And it's also just going to be looser over time. I have this the right length for my soap to go over it, but it's a little too wide. So I'm going to take a little off. To make this easier, go ahead and dunk it in my water. This helps the soap and the wool roving start adhere to each other right away and makes it easier for me as I get started. You can see it's still, I've got some excess here, so I'm going to pull that off. I am now going to tuck it into my stocking. Like I said, this is something that you don't absolutely need to have, but it holds things together much better. I want to put this on here nice and tight because I want to be rubbing into the roving, but I don't want it to be moving anywhere. So now I'm just going to start the felting process. You want to make sure you are rubbing in different directions all over the soap. If you're using a square bar of soap, make sure you pay good attention to those corners because that's one of the areas that you are most likely to have something peek out. With this slightly curved oval, I'm going to be paying good attention to all of these curves. Every once in a while, I will dump it back in my warm water. That keeps the felt, of course, or the wool roving, of course, a little warmer and makes it more liable to adhere and shrink down to the soap. And then we'll take a peek. The back is looking good, full coverage. But on the top, it looks like I've moved a little bit too much around. I've got a little bit of a thick spot there, which is totally fine. I don't need to make that smaller, but I do need to add a little bit more to this white spot. So I'm gonna take a little bit more of my roving. Dampen it a little bit. And pat it on right where I need it. Nice and tight all the way around. I'm gonna set this aside to dry, and once it's dry, it's ready to use. Thank you so much for coming by the Minnesota Homestead and learning about how to make felted soap. In a week or two, I'm going to post a video about how to add cool patterns and designs to your soaps so you can learn how to do fun things like this. So make sure you stay tuned for that, and to make sure you catch that video, don't forget to hit that subscribe button down below. Thanks for stopping by, and we will see you next time here at the Minnesota Homestead.